This is the last time I'm going to review a rotary mixer for the foreseeable future. Why? Well, there are two main reasons. Firstly, they are just a bit too niche. Here on this channel, we're not about chasing the big numbers. We're here to produce content which is valuable to the DJ community. But these reviews take a lot of work and there are loads of logistics involved, and there are just so many options for good rotaries on the market today, it's getting a bit much. Secondly, and this is the main reason, I'm just kind of running out of things to say about them. There are only so many times I can talk about how a mixer has Alps blue velvet pots, for example, as most of these manufacturers are kind of following the same basic template of what a rotary should be. So unless a company comes out with something really different that truly catches my attention, then we will be focusing on other topics in 2025. But for the last one of these reviews, at least for now, we're taking a look at what might be the cutest rotary I've tried to date, the Tomcut 2 from Audiosolution. Audiosolution are an Italian company who started out making audio gear for cars and then branched out into DJ mixers. The Tomcut 2 is quite a bit more affordable than their previous offerings, the SP2, 3 and 4, which I've never tried, but which seem to be well regarded. The Tomcut 2 is an all-analog rotary, hand-built in Italy, which sells for around €1,200 plus shipping and probably duty depending on where you are. That puts it into the lower price tier of boutique rotaries and means that it's in competition with the likes of the Union Audio Orbit 2 LE, as well as more pricey mass-produced units like the Ecla Warm 4. It has two channels, and it really is two channels. There's no mic input or anything like that. Each of those channels has a line and phono input on RCAs. There's an effect send and return loop also on RCAs. Outputs are comprehensive with master on balanced XLRs and unbalanced RCAs, a booth output also on RCAs, and then two record outputs. Those are both on RCAs, with one outputting at 6 dB lower, ideal for a safety track. As much as that is cool though, I must say I'd have probably preferred it if they lost the second one of those record outputs and made some space to have balanced jacks for the booth instead. It would just make it a little easier to plug the Tomcut 2 into a working DJ booth at a bar or club if you take yours around with you. Which you are quite likely to do because it is super portable. At 38cm long and just 26cm wide, it will fit into pretty much any bag you like, although it does arrive in a dedicated ABS flight case, which is a great touch for the money. It weighs in at a little over 4 kilograms, so it's not especially light, but still easy enough to carry. Another thing which will make it easier to use on the road is the internal power supply with an IEC connector. Perhaps not the very best option for ultimate sound quality, some would argue, but certainly more convenient. When it comes to the construction, I feel like that's the place where you can kind of feel where the lower cost is coming from. It's all metal, of course, but the panels do have a bit of flex to them, which would be unacceptable at a higher price tier, but at this level, I can forgive it. The finish too is not quite up there with more luxury models, with what seems to be basic powder coating and screen printed, not laser etched markings. It does look great between a pair of decks though, especially in this fire engine red finish. And they haven't skimped out on the knobs, which are made exclusively for the Tomcut 2. They are all aluminium and they have a great feel, plus they are different from the norm, which I do appreciate. What really matters on a product like this though is the internals. I'll let you head to their website to peruse the full specs, but those are full of things I like, with a mix of surface mount and through-hole assembly (PTH) components, which helps keep the cost low. The critical components are all PTH, with things like Nishikon Muse and Panasonic capacitors, Vichy resistors, and let's all say it together, Alps blue velvet pots, a long-time favourite on the rotary scene. So how does the Tomcut 2 sound? Well, it's definitely not what I would call flat. My measurements showed it curving upwards towards a peak at around 1 kHz, and you can definitely hear that in use. What it makes for is a mixer which sounds incredibly lively and dynamic. It has the warmth in the low end that you'd expect from an analog mixer, but the mid-range really shines with a true energy and punch to vocals which more flat mixers sometimes lack. What you also won't get is incredibly crisp hi-hats and the like. This feels like a mixer which is more suited to classic disco and soul sounds than, say, techno. That's not to say that the mixer is muddy in any way, it's just that vocals and instrumentation are very much its forte. I couldn't measure the phono preamps in the same way, but when listening they do exhibit the same qualities as the line inputs with different carts, suggesting they are pretty transparent in themselves. I don't like to pull out stereotypes, but it's my review and I'm gonna. The overall sound of the Tomcut 2 is kind of like an Italian sports car from the 80s. It is brash and it's in your face, and it's definitely not what I would call subtle. But when you're behind the wheel, it's an absolute blast. At this point, I'll take you through the performance features on the Tomcut 2, as I haven't really touched on those yet. So a quick run through of the features here on the Tomcut 2. This one is very approachable. If you're new to rotaries, if this is something you've not messed with before, there's a lot about this which is very much in the vein of a standard DJ mixer. You know, you've got 3-band EQ, you have trim controls. As far as I can tell, unity gain it's like the Master Sounds mixers. It's designed to be run at 10. And then you adjust the gain like you do on a regular kind of fader mixer. So yeah, very approachable, very straightforward. There is no mic input, so I'm running through another mixer into channel 2 here, so you can hear me on the mic. But yeah, that's your main rotaries. Kind of small little knobs, you know, certainly in comparison with the wax electronics that we looked at most recently. But they've got a good feel to them, knurling on the edges. Then we have the 3-band EQ. One thing I don't like about the EQ, they kind of got this infinity symbol as if they fully cut, but they don't. Got quite a nice profile to the cutoff points. They do have a fairly serious amount of boost. They've got a plus 12 boost. So again, these are like, you know, the EQs on a regular 2-channel fader mixer really, which will appeal to a lot of users. Then yeah, your trim control up above, your switches between line and phono. Cue buttons, got these cute little lights here. Same thing applies for the phono and line inputs. They light up red when the phono input is selected. The isolator is a lot of fun as well. It is a full cut there. It has got the correct markings on that. I really like the positioning of the isolator. It's really out of the way, really accessible, really easy to get hold of without any fear you're going to touch anything else. I think overall the isolator is my favourite feature on the mixer. It's just, yeah, very playable, really fun. Great size on the knobs as well. Really into that. Then we've got our headphone volume, Q Master Blend knob, booth output, house output, and then the return. Now the center return loop, again a slight disappointment for me, I have to say, because it's pre-fader. The send knobs are on the front of the mixer. So you can see there where I turn down the channel knob, it's still sending, so it is, yeah, it's pre-fader, it's not post-fader, so the only way to get any kind of real cut with it, you know, to like post-fader tails, is to boost that and then send this, and it's a whole thing. So to be honest, it's not really a feature I would use because it's not post fader. There are definitely uses for pre-fader sends, and some DJs will get something out of that. But for me, yeah, it's a feature I just wouldn't use because send and return, if it's not post fader, it doesn't really work for me. But yeah, as you can see, as I said, very playable, very accessible. This is a great entry point into rotaries because it will be familiar to those who've never touched a rotary before. There's nothing unusual about it. You've got that regular kind of 3-band EQ and gain setup, just with that awesome isolator and these very nice feeling main rotary pots. Ultimately, for all its little quirks, I am really impressed by the Tomcut 2. It is by no means the most polished rotary I've used when it comes to the overall feel and look, but that is part of its charm. This is about as far from a mass-produced mixer as you can get, but it does absolutely deliver where it counts with the sound. If you're after a completely clean, transparent profile, then there are many alternatives which will give you a flatter sound. But if you want something which brings excitement and vibrancy to your records and the room, then the Tomcut 2 will deliver that to you for a really good price. In the comments, let me know your thoughts on the Tomcut 2. And as this will be my last rotary review for a while, I'd love to hear which is your favourite of all the models I've covered in the past few years. And if you ended up getting one of your own, which one did you go for? Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Beatsource Tech. If you liked it, be sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss any future videos. And hey, if you haven't already, you can try Beatsource for free and join DJ City for just $10. All links are down in the description. I'll see you next time!